Welcome to the deep dive. You've brought us a really interesting set of sources today. We're looking at a very specific way to tackle chronic pain, specifically migraines. No pills involved here.
That's right. It's called the Ritchie migraine method, and it's all about finding and fixing the root structural cause.
Before we dive into the how, though, we need to talk about the why, the scale of this problem.
Yeah,
It's just huge.
it really is. The sources point out something pretty shocking. 1 billion people around the world suffering from chronic migraines right now.
1 billion. It's hard to even picture. But basically, that's like 1 in every 8 people on Earth. Just think about that.
Yeah, it's a massive public health issue. And, that level of suffering, it naturally pushes people to look for something different, something beyond the standard treatments.
Exactly. Which brings us to these sources about this specific clinic and its proprietary program. The doctor behind it has his own story, too.
Right. So our mission today is basically to unpack this method. What are the key pieces? What techniques are they actually using? And what's the sort of core idea that makes it different from just taking medication?
Okay, let's get into it. Where do we start?
Well, I think we have to start with the personal story. It gives the whole thing context and, frankly, credibility. Dr. David Ritchie, the guy who developed this system,
Yeah.
he wasn't just some researcher studying migraines from afar.
No, he lived it.
Mm.
The sources say he had these awful migraines, sometimes 3 times a week when he was a kid.
Yeah, brutal pain. Described having to leave school, just lie down in a pitch black room. That was, the only thing that helped, even a little.
So he understood the suffering firsthand. It wasn't theoretical for him at all.
And that deep personal understanding really seems to fuel his whole approach, especially his critique of just managing symptoms. But his own journey to getting better, that's also really revealing about the method itself.
There's a timeline.
Yes, the timeline. 2 key moments stand out, right? First, some limited relief started when he was 21. That was after his first general chiropractic adjustment. So, okay, something helped a bit.
But that wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot.
No way. The real breakthrough, the point where he says he started actually eliminating the migraines, that didn't happen until he was 40, almost 2 decades later.
And what happened at 40?
That's when he got his first Atlas Orthogonal chiropractic adjustment.
Atlas orthogonal. Okay, so that's different from a general adjustment.
Hugely different. And that 19-year gap, it's not just a side note. It really points to something crucial. General manipulation gave some relief, maybe temporary, but this ultra-specific technique, focused right at the top of the neck, that seemed to be what finally broke the cycle for him.
What's fascinating here is that implied difference, isn't it? Correction versus just, temporary relief.
Exactly. We're talking about the atlas, the C1 vertebra. It's literally the connection point between your head and your spine. Supports the skull, protects the brainstem. It's critical.
So the sources are suggesting that maybe a general adjustment wasn't precise enough to fix whatever was fundamentally misaligned there.
That's definitely the strong implication, that only this very precise, targeted atlas orthogonal technique could make the correction needed to sort of quiet down the neurological issues causing the migraines.
Which leads us right into the core philosophy here, the whole cause versus masking thing.
Right. This is where the frustration really comes through in the sources. Why, he asks. If someone has what seems like a structural problem, why is the default treatment just masking the pain with pills?
Instead of digging deeper to find and fix the actual physical cause.
Yeah, it's a fair question. But, the sources also acknowledge why patients reach for those pills.
Of course. If you're in agony, described as brutal pain, and you feel like you've tried everything else, all sorts of different things that didn't work.
Then that pill is your lifeline. It gives you immediate relief, lets you function. You can't blame people for taking it.
No, absolutely not. But this Ritchie migraine method, the RMM, it's trying to shift that focus.
Yeah.
It's saying, okay, the pill helps right now, but it's not solving the underlying problem.
Exactly. So they emphasize needing a proven, tried and true method, something that takes effort, takes dedication, but aims for actual structural correction.
And they're upfront about the effort involved. The source material warns you, warns the patient. This is just not as simple as cracking your neck and sending you on your way.
It's a program. It requires commitment. Healing takes time.
That really is the friction point, isn't it? Choosing the harder path that might lead to real correction versus the easier path of just managing symptoms day to day.
It definitely asks a lot of the patient. It requires a shift in mindset, away from the quick fix.
So let's get technical. Let's unpack the RMM itself. What is this program?
It's described as one of a kind, focused on corrective care, And it has this interesting dual goal.
Right, getting people feeling better fast while also fixing the underlying structural cause. Seems almost contradictory.
Well, maybe not contradictory, but definitely ambitious. It kind of explains why it's not just one single therapy.
Okay, so what are the components? What does the RMM actually involve? The sources list a few specific things.
Yes, they do. It's a combination. First, and this seems central, is the Atlas orthogonal chiropractic work we mentioned.
The super precise upper neck adjustment.
Exactly. Second, they use MLS laser therapy.
MLS laser, okay.
And third, it mentions other effective therapies, which is a bit vague, but we can probably infer what that means.
Let's spend a moment on the Atlas orthogonal part because it seems so critical based on the doctor's own story. What makes it so different?
Well, it's not the kind of chiropractic where you hear pops or cracks. It's instrument-based, very low force.
How does that work?
They use really detailed imaging, like 3D X-rays, to measure the exact misalignment of the atlas down to millimeters and degrees. Then a specific instrument delivers a very precise percussive force, like a tiny tap, to gently nudge the vertebra back into alignment. No twisting, no sudden movements.
Ah, okay. So the precision is everything. It's about getting that C1 vertebra exactly where it needs to be relative to the skull.
That seems to be the core idea. That extreme precision is what they believe provides the neurological relief. It explains potentially why the general adjustment helped Dr. Ritchie a bit, but the AO adjustment later was the game changer.
Makes sense. Now, what about the second part, the MLS laser therapy? Where does that fit in?
That seems aimed squarely at the feel better fast part of the equation. MLS stands for multi-wave locked system.
Okay.
It uses two different wavelengths of light at the same time. One is primarily for immediate pain relief, calming nerve sensitivity. The other penetrates deeper to reduce inflammation and sort of speed up cellular repair.
So the AO is the long-term structural fix, and the MLS laser tackles the immediate, awful pain and inflammation that makes life miserable for migraine sufferers.
That looks like the strategy. It helps manage the acute symptoms, making it bearable for the patient to actually continue with the corrective care process, which takes time.
That's quite clever, actually, addressing both needs simultaneously.
It acknowledges the reality of healing. You need to manage the pain to stay the course for the deeper correction.
Okay, so we have the AO for structure, the MLS laser for acute relief. What are the other effective therapies?
Well, the source defines the provider's job in two parts. Part one is the technical skill delivering that safe, precise AO adjustment.
Right, fixing the structure.
But part two, which he calls the other big part of my job, is guiding the patient through the healing process.
Ah, so the coaching and rehabilitation side.
Exactly. And that's likely where those other therapies come in. Things like specific exercises, maybe, to strengthen supporting muscles, posture advice, maybe even nutritional guidance.
Things designed to help the correction hold, essentially. Because you can adjust the atlas, but if someone's posture or habits keep pulling it out of alignment.
The problem comes back, so it's about stabilizing the correction long term. That's the difference between just getting an adjustment and engaging in true corrective care. It requires patient participation.
So the RMM isn't just the adjustment plus the laser. It's the whole package. The precise adjustment, the symptom relief tools, and the guidance to make it last.
Yeah, it's a system. It bundles everything together into a structured program aimed at breaking that migraine cycle for good, not just pausing it.
Okay, so let's recap the main takeaways from this deep dive. We looked at the Ritchie migraine method, which is fundamentally about structural correction for chronic migraines.
Right, and the key tools are that highly precise Atlas orthogonal technique targeting the upper neck, combined with things like MLS laser therapy to manage the immediate pain and inflammation.
It's a philosophy focused entirely on finding and fixing the cause, moving away from just masking symptoms with medication.
And if you're out there, maybe you're that one person in 8 dealing with this, it offers a completely different angle to think about. A path focused on potential elimination, not just management.
Definitely food for thought. And connecting it back to Dr. Ritchie's own story. Finding relief only after that specific Atlas orthogonal adjustment, years after general chiropractic. It really leaves you with a final question, doesn't it?
How much does that absolute precision matter? Right at that critical junction between the skull and spine near the brainstem.
Yeah. When you're dealing with something as complex and debilitating as chronic migraines, could it be that general adjustments aren't enough for some people? Does it sometimes come down to millimeters?
It certainly suggests that for certain conditions, maybe especially neurological ones, that level of targeted, measurable precision might be the key difference. Something to definitely mull over.